Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Letty and this is my creative space where we share sewing, knitting and other crafty projects. Today's video will be a little bit of a different video than the last ones. It is not a show and tell video. I will bring you along with my journey of altering a pattern to get a fit that I more like. So the last time I spoke a lot about drafting that I drafted my own bodice block, and I used it to modify an existing pattern to give it more the fitted look that I want. This time it is a little bit different. I bought a sewing pattern that was super oversized. I didn't expect it to be so oversized as it was, and I thought about the process or how I can achieve still oversized look, but not an oversized look where I have the impression I would drown in the fabric. So if that sounds good to you, let's go into it. Maybe I should also say what the main purpose of that blouse is in the first place. So this blouse is not really a blouse that I would wear, let's say, for an office kind of situation. I wanted a blouse that is more an overthrow or more jacket kind of situation for summer and traveling. So I was searching for a pattern that is oversized, that I can throw over, wear like a loose jacket, not cardigan, but something that is loose and easy to wear for the summer months when the sun is really aggressive, so that I can cover up my arms and my shoulders with that blouse. But also that I can wear it when there's a little bit of a wind situation going on. Especially I will wear it, I think, a lot when I'm hiking. And when you reach the mountaintop, it's usually a little bit windier, a little bit cooler than on your way up. So something that is easy to wear, breathable, but also a layer of protection either from the sun or from the wind. That was my main goal to achieve with that blouse that I wanted to have. So the pattern that I bought is the Chemise pattern by Atelier Brunet, and this pattern is not a super size inclusive pattern, so it only comes in size XS to XL. But since it is a super oversized pattern, maybe if you don't want to have these, I think around 60 centimeters of positive ease in the pattern, if you don't want to have the full 60 centimeters, maybe you can even use it for your body measurements if you're not completely in their size range. But unfortunately Atelier Brunet doesn't provide the finished garment measurements on their website. At least when I checked again, I could not find this detail. The only finished measurement that they provide to you is only in the pattern after you bought the pattern basically, and I think the measurement that you really can use is what they call the underarm width, I think. And it's not clear if it's more where the waist would be or more where the hip is, or maybe even closer to the bust area. I have no idea. So they don't give a great detail about that, but for my size, I used the smallest size to have not like a huge excess of fabric on me. The measurements are 135 centimeters, and I have roughly a waist of 70 centimeters, I think, and that would leave me with over 60 centimeters of positive ease. And I knew when I saw that might be a little bit too much for my liking. But nevertheless, I went straight in with the size XS and tried the first muslin, and it was obviously a little bit too big. I saw the issues that I had, and especially around the bust area, it looked super big. And also in the back, it has a weird, so it draped weirdly around the back, but I knew my fabric that I used is also a very stiff one. When I tied it in the front with the knot, I had also the impression that there's so much excess fabric and it really does not look flattering on me. And I don't feel very comfortable in extremely oversized clothing. It always makes me, I don't know, super cautious of how I look. And I think in that pattern especially, it looks like the fabric, I'm drowning in fabric. So basically, that was definitely not a pattern that I then liked and I thought I can go forward with. So I thought a little bit longer about what do I have, what can I do with it, and my eyes saw my Kalle shirts, which I think I sewed 1 shirt, 3 dresses, and I absolutely like the fit of the dresses, and I thought maybe this pattern actually can be a good, not alternative, but a good companion, so to say, for that other pattern, and I can smoosh them together to achieve the fit that I would prefer. So yeah, I love the Kalle shirt, or dress better to say. As you can see, I'm wearing it right now. This is a modified version that I did last year. But yeah, I'm absolutely in love with the Kalle shirt and how it fits. It makes me feel good. So I thought that, yeah, that might be the better way to go forward with, by adjusting the Chemise pattern with the pattern pieces from the Kalle shirt. So welcome to my little makeshift drafting table. What you can see is I tried to figure out how to smoosh the 2 patterns together. So I have here the pattern from 2021 from the Kalle shirt from Closet Core. I took out my notes because I remembered that I made this dress in 2021, yes, and the other dress, I think the one that I showed you, it's back from 2020, and they changed the pattern slightly. So I checked if the one that I have here is the one that I need, and it is like this. So my idea is that I will, let's put this here, I will make sure that I don't distort and don't change the arm seam and arm and shoulder seam. This should be staying in the same size and length. Same goes with the collar, because I will attach the collar here, and I think that not need to change. I will maybe check how this size is in comparison to the Kalle shirt, which I have here, and yeah, but I think I will just leave it. That does not bother me too much, I think, if that is a little bit bigger. But yeah, I tried to figure out how to adapt the pattern from the Chemise to the Kalle. Let's get that out of the way. So I have here the pieces that I modify, and I hope the sticky tape parts are not too annoying and too much of a reflection. I have to change the back piece, the front piece, the front sleeve and the sleeve, but I don't have for the Kalle shirt the sleeve extensions, so I just know that I quite like the depth of the armholes, so yeah, I try to fix that together somehow. The first alteration is the front, where I laid both front and sleeve pattern of the Chemise over each other and then put the Kalle shirt front on top. With that I traced a new side seam. Based on the underarm point, I drew a straight line to the cuff for the sleeve adjustment. For the back, I used the yoke and back piece from the Kalle shirt, and on my first trace I forgot to move the back piece a little bit because the Kalle shirt has a back pleat. I aligned the first notch from the pleat with the back of the Chemise pattern and traced the side seam again. I made sure that both side seams have the same length by checking with the cutoff piece from the front and adjusted the back side seam slightly. After modifying the back seam where the sleeve is attached, I had to make a similar adjustment to the sleeve pattern. I did this by overlapping these pieces and followed the cut line until the back piece ended and marked that point on the sleeve pattern. From that point I drew a straight line down to the cuff. Since the original underarm seams of the patterns have a slight curve, I did the same adjustment to my sleeve pieces so that they will be a little bit more defined under the arm. Now that the alterations were made on paper, I cut it out another muslin, sewed everything together and checked the fit of this altered pattern. I only cut the modified pieces and left the bottom placket off. Even though the placket adds around 2 centimeters, I thought it would not change the look so dramatically. When I put on the blouse, I saw immediately the difference between the two versions. The fit of the bust was less poofy, the sleeves were still big but not quite so big as before, and the back was definitely less voluminous. Even though the circumference was around 30 centimeters less than before, I could still comfortably tie the knot in the front. One thing I noticed though was the mismatch of the back sleeve with the front sleeve seam, and I fixed that by moving the back seam more towards the armhole, so the armhole was bigger than and the sleeve head as well. For this blouse I always had some linen fabric in my mind, and I found this beautiful light grey linen with a slight blue undertone in the Czech Republic. It is a chambray linen, which means it is woven with more than one color, and in this case the warp is white and the weft is blue. Even though it is not a striped fabric, you can see the difference quite clearly since the front is cut out on the grain and the sleeve on the cross grain. I wanted to use a linen fabric for this project because it does not hold odors as much as cotton would, and since I will be traveling, I would ideally hang the blouse rather on a hanger and let it air out overnight and maybe give it a light hand wash here and there while I'm traveling. One thing that is of course not ideal is that linen wrinkles a lot. I don't mind it too much and I will not be bothered to iron that blouse whether I'm traveling or I'm at home. It will just stay like it is. You can see that my front sleeve is now longer than the back sleeve. I already noticed that when I was working on the muslin, but I thought I will not fiddle with the pattern, but just basically do this alterations on the go once I'm at this step. And you see that on the left part it is around 7 centimeters longer, and on the right side 4 centimeters. So this definitely has to be shortened to even that out. I checked if I can cut a straight line with just pinning the overlapping piece backwards, and yeah, that worked, and I just cut it off. Since I cut the marks for folding the pleat off, I needed to make some new ones. The construction of the shirt is not super complex, but where you have to read the instructions carefully is when it comes to the markings of the cuff placket and also when you attach the interfacing. But in general, the cuff and the collar are definitely most involved parts of that blouse. But I would say with the instructions of the La Chemise pattern, you can totally do it. I definitely made my peace with that sewing pattern when I followed the instructions, because their construction method for the cuffs and also for the collar gives you a very neat finish. And if you remember my last video, I complained a lot about the finishing and construction method of the penny dress, that I don't think that they have a very good method, and I definitely prefer now the method that I learned with Atelier Brunet. Their method of constructing the cuff and the collar is you attach your collar or cuff with the right side against the wrong side of your blouse. Then you fold everything over, of course you give it a good press, and then you top stitch everything down in place on the right side. So this time I definitely achieved a very neat result, and I'm absolutely happy with how they instruct you to do this. And from now on, I guess I will follow these kind of instructions when I have to sew a cuff or a collar. As you can see, I took my time to iron everything down between each of the steps so that I get very crisp edges. The last step of sewing a blouse always scares me a little bit because it comes down to the buttonholes. And I don't like to fluff up the last bits. Every time I sew the buttonholes, I have one hole that doesn't want to behave, and of course it was the same this time. But I managed to get it done, of course while I sweat heavily, and afterwards I treated myself with some hand sewing. I love to finish my garments with some hand sewing, so I sat down with a coffee and listened to my Spanish Duolingo podcast while I sewed all the 11 buttons on. So I definitely had a nice lecture on that day. The overall time that I spent on that project was roughly 12 hours, and I mostly worked on my days after work, so there were even some days where I only had 30 minutes, but I tried to even use that little time to make some progress with that project. I must say I'm super happy with the outcome of the blouse, and I cannot wait until my travels and also now for the summertime to wear that shirt here in Berlin or for hikes that I do around in Germany. I definitely hope that this will be a good piece for my travel wardrobe as well. Should be. But yeah, I'm super happy that I changed the the one pattern, the La Chemise pattern, with the help of the Kalle Shirt, and making something very nice and usable out of that, instead of being mad with the pattern that it's not what I hoped for, and then buy another pattern, which yeah, I don't want to do, since I know I have quite a lot of patterns and I would rather use the ones that I have instead of buying all the time new stuff. So I can highly recommend smooshing the two pieces together, the two patterns together to make one, because I have to say the style line of that La Chemise is definitely a unique one, and I absolutely like this one. I'm also looking forward to how I will style that blouse. So I tried to style the blouse when I finished it a little bit, to see how I can wear it. So I think most of the time I will wear it with some leggings or tights and a shirt underneath, and then this blouse over the top, either open, as you can see in the video, or if I want to, I can also tie it up around the waist area. Then it gives it even, I would say, a cooler look, I don't know. But yeah, I like these two options that you will have with this blouse. I think I will never wear it buttoned up when I'm hiking. I don't think so. And I also try to style it with the dress that I have. The dress is definitely not the dress that comes with me on my travels, since that one is the old dress that I had for quite some time, and it is definitely in bitter need of replacement for some new travel adventures. But even with the dress, I absolutely like the look with the blouse that you can get, that it is, maybe when it's open, it's not 100% my style. I think I will not wear it over the dress openly, but tied up in the front with the knot looks definitely like a style that I can see myself while using when I'm traveling and maybe roam through a city, which will happen maybe here and there, but not that often. But yeah, I'm quite happy that I made something nice and usable out of these two patterns, and got over my anger in the initial place, because it was not how I would have liked it from the beginning of the La Chemise pattern. But yeah, I have to say I'm definitely happy that I bought the pattern, and especially the instructions. They are, yeah, absolute good, and maybe I will try another pattern from Atelier Brunet one day or another. But yeah, I hope you liked my little pattern smooshing and you found it interesting, or maybe I even gave you the courage to work on a pattern that you have that is not 100% to your liking, but you do have another pattern in your pattern collection, and encourage you that smooshing things together is maybe scary, but if you make a muslin, nothing is too scary. You just have to check it once or twice. And then you can make hopefully a garment out of that is more in the fit, that is more to your liking, and that the fit is more how you prefer your fit to be. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, comments, please leave them down in the comments down below. And I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.